Oh, that was crazy. Didn't mean to have that logo to start everything, but this is the logo it should have been. All right. Well, there you go. There you go. We actually, I'm going to grab this and show you guys because you probably can't see, but I got counters. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hang on a second. Let me get rid of the background for a second. There you go. You can see my messes I have everywhere. All right, but you can see counters that I've been clipping. You can see I actually only have one more pile. One more pile for this box. This is Leyte Golf. Second World War at sea. Where is the actual box? Leyte Golf, Second World War at sea. This sucker. It's been a long process to get this done. It's been a long process to get it done. It's been a little bit of here, put it away, a little bit more, put it away, a little bit more, put it away. But it's on my list of 10 games that I need to do this year. So I'm like, oh, I should probably, yeah, I should probably try and get it done. I should probably try to get it done. I only got probably maybe 40 minutes. I don't know. There's like maybe one counter sheet, whatever, left. So I'm like, you know what? Since we're winding this down, let's go ahead and do a live stream as we Farnley. I think there's literally. I'm gonna check before I even get back to clipping. Before I even get back to clipping, I am gonna check and see. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think this came with between 8 to 10 counter sheets, and not only that, but it's literally a million of these little airplanes, a million of these little half-inch counters for planes. Oh my God, there are so many planes. Let's see, I gotta find the box now. Where's the bottom of the box? Oh, it's right here. Right. So one of these days I'll get that done. One of these days I'll get this done. Projects, I got more projects going on than I know what to do with. So, all right. We are, I want to check the rules and see if it says like, this is what came, no, this is the rule. Yeah, 10 sheets of playing pieces. Yes, it's in the book. Components. Leyte Golf includes 3 operational maps, 1 tactical map, 10 sheets of playing pieces, a series rulebook, a ship data booklet, this scenario booklet, and the incredible number of charts. And an incredible number of charts, it says. Wow. And you're right. It is an incredible number of charts. It is 10 counter sheets. So we are counting down the 10 counter sheets, especially, like I said, it is a literal million of these little tiny, and I mean, you got whites, we got tans, we got blues, we got greens. I mean, there is like 8 colors of planes in this game. It is crazy. This is my Avalanche press. Avalanche press, the Second World War at sea. Oops, over here, Second World War at sea. Avalanche press. If I move out of the way, no, can't really see it, can you? Can't really see it, can you? You can't. You can find this game, but it's going to cost you like $200 to $300 because it's been out of print for years, and the few copies that are available are not. I was very fortunate, and I had one of my subscribers who heard me talking about the game and emailed me and said, "Hey, Jester, I've got that game in storage. and I'd like to ship it to you. And he actually lived in Canada. I believe it was Canada. And so he shipped it to me. It cost him a lot of money to ship it to me. And I offered to pay for shipping and everything. And he said, no, that's all right. Don't worry about it. So very, very kind. And I have to go back and find out who that was and really thank him. But I told him, I said, hey, I said in my email, I give a lot of games away, and, we run prizes and this, that, and the other thing. And sometimes we get games donated. If you ever see something that I have that you want, just let me know. So hopefully one of these days, he'll see something that he wants, and I'll be able to repay his generosity. So I think this is one of these game systems that nobody, and I mean nobody, really talks about and plays. I mean, if you type in Second World War C at Avalanche Press, there's been I know the OG did a couple videos on it. I don't think I've done a video on it. There's been a couple people that have put a couple videos about it, but it's just not a game that people play and record, because it's hard to do solo, because you have to how much table space do you need? It was a huge, well, it's got 3 operational maps. It's got 3 operational maps for this game, right? For this game. Now there's all kinds of different games in the series. They have Midway, they have Europe, they have Indian Ocean. I mean, they got 20 different games in the series. So some of them are not as big, but this is 3 operational maps, right? So you need so this is just one. So now multiply that by 2 more times. So that's how much table space you need. Now, I'm sure there's some scenarios that don't use all 3 maps, right? Probably, there's probably a bunch of scenarios that don't use all 3 maps. So, but this is literally like a tactical game of late golf at sea. It's a tactical sea game, because every counter is one ship. Every counter is one ship. And what happens is, on the operational maps, you have your different fleets sailing around doing their objectives. And if you ever get into an area with an enemy, then you roll the dice to see if you spot one another, because each one of the boxes is still 80 miles by 80 miles or whatever it is. It's still pretty big, so you might not even see one another. And then if you do, then you go to a tactical board, and then you place all the ships on the tactical board. So you don't use the ships on the operational board. You just use these little task force markers, just little task force markers. And then on the side, you have all your task force. So you'd have all your counters. So you can see this is task force. So you would have task force 1, and you would stack up all your ships in task force 1, and then task force 2, and task force 3, blah, blah, blah. So it's a major undertaking. And I think that's why it's just not well covered, I guess, by people. Because number one, it's hard to play solitaire. Because you have a lot of hidden movement, obviously, right? Because you pre-plan all your ship movements, and so you plan them all out. And then you can plan out your air patrols and everything else. So if you're playing both sides, you know where everyone is. So it's not a great solitaire system. But it is a very enjoyable sea game if you like tactical battles, because there are several scenarios that are just the tactical battles where it says this task force and this task force meet and attack, and then you put them in the tactical map, and there's like 26 phases to a turn. So it's a very in-depth tactical battle between ships. And each ship has ratings for how much damage they can do, how much damage they can take, critical hits. It's basically it's a dice chucker, and like each one of your ratings gives you a 6-sided dice to throw. So if you're shooting 6, you're rolling 6 dice. If you're attacking with 10, then you're rolling 10 dice, and you hit on 6s. And then you have to compare the size of your attack versus the defender and see if you penetrated their hull depending on the size of your gun and the distance you are away. There's a lot to it. It's basically it's kind of I would say it's like the ASL of ship combat, right? But it's not quite as difficult as ASL. Don't get me wrong. It's a very complex tactical system. There's only like 8 or 10 pages of rule. It's not that much, but I mean, like literally, you have to keep track of every single ship, and each ship can take so much damage. So when it takes damage, you got to fill in the little over here, fill in the little damage, right? And so depending on how much damage you take might affect your speed and everything. So, and you got one of these lines for every single ship. So you might have, in a big battle, you might have 3 or 4 pages of ships. So you're going to have to keep track of all that information. Like I said, it's pretty involved. It's pretty in depth. It's pretty detailed system. Doesn't play well solitaire, but it is a very old school design. That is true. It's probably, this game has been out for, I mean, good Lord, I don't even know how long this system's been around. Probably good 20, 25 years, I would think. Maybe even longer, I don't know. I mean, they've reprinted all the games in the series several times so far, and they've updated the rules and everything else. So yeah, it is 10. This version, like I said, they have Midway, which is another one I want to get in the series. They've got Strike South. They have Coral Sea is another one, right? Coral Sea. And Midway and Coral Sea are like, it's like one map with maybe 2 or 3 counter sheets. This is the only what I would call monster game of the series. This is the only one. And they come out with the smaller games, Midway, Coral Sea, and those did pretty well, and they sold really well, so they decided to put a monster together. And I actually bought that, and it didn't sell out because it was expensive, and a lot of people were like, damn, I don't know if I want to spend that much money on it. So I guess they decided, then they went back to just normal size, like regular size after that. Is there a vassal module? That is a great question. I don't know if there is a, Jack. I don't know if there's a pass. Why don't you look it up and see? Let us know. Is there a possible vassal module? I don't know. There might be. There might actually be. I don't know. Now, you guys realize that Avalanche Press would not release any of their vassal modules for Panzer Grenadiers, so I don't know what the deal is with their Second World War at Sea vassal modules. I am finishing it. It has been a on again, off again for 2 weeks. I've been doing this 10 counter sheets with a million of these little half-inch counters. A million of them. I swear to God, there's got to be a million of these things. These little half-inch. I don't know how many of them fit on a counter sheet, but man, it just I am really debating about ever ordering a game again that comes in half counter sheets counters, because I really hate half inch counters. They are horrible. They're hard to counter clip. First of all, to get them into the clipper is really hard. Fortunately, this clipper works 8 times better than my other one. Where's my other one? I think I put it back in the drawer. You literally can't use these with half-inch counters. You can, but it takes you like twice as long to counter clip. Because it for me anyways, it just doesn't fit in the groove right. But this works with every other counter except for a half-inch counter. This is like the best device ever, as long as it's not a half-inch counter. I'm just giving you my personal take on it. Now you guys might argue with me. You might say, "Oh, this thing works fine with my half-inch counters." If you can do it, great. I tried like 2 sheets worth on this and couldn't do jack. Every 5 minutes I was like, and I probably said no, and I just switched over to this. Now I hate using this. Because it's like 3 times as big. It weighs twice as much. It's cumbersome, right? So I would rather use this. This is my tool of choice. This is what I call the snow shovel. Everyone get your snow shovel out, right? But this just doesn't work on half-inch counters. It does not work on half-inch counters. It's just blah. So I have to use this. But we are working our way down. 10 counter sheets. We're down to less than a counter sheet left. Whoo, I can't wait to be done with this monster. Good Lord. When I show you guys how many counters are in this game, you are not going to believe. Or it's a device that just wastes your time. Who needs to clip? Mike, we all know everyone needs to clip. Everyone needs to clip. Everyone needs to clip. Good to see you, Mike. Happy Sunday for everyone. I have a good old 2.5 millimeter old snow shovel. Yep. I mean, the snow shovel, it works great. It's cumbersome, and it puts a little, you gotta squeeze with this little doohickey, right? It's like you just put a little effort in, boom, 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 and you're just click, 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 and it works great. But I can't get this to work on half-inch counters. I got all kinds of different. It's not the size either, because I got the 2.5, I got the 3, and I got the 2-inch. So I tried all 3 of them, and none of them work right with the half-inch counters. It's just half-inch counters suck. I will not buy. I mean, I will really limit what I buy that's half-inch counters. I will never buy a 10 counter sheet if I find out they're all half-inch counters, because I'm not going to know. I mean, it was bad enough. Now, fortunately for us, like half the sheets in this game have the nice ships, right? So they're like double-sized counters, right? So that is awesome. If you turn the standard clipper upside down, is it easier to use the half-inch counter? I don't know. I cannot get it to you. I don't know about turning it upside down. I haven't tried turning it upside down. I've moved past it. I've given up hope. All right. Sorry, I've given up hope on that. I'm not even gonna waste any more time. Because literally, the time I waste in that is time that I'm not clipping with this, right? And this thing, you can see, I can get a counter done pretty gosh darn quickly, and even the half-inch counters. There's 4 done. Boom. 4 clips on that one counter. And there is 90% of these counters are half-inch. Now, the other thing I find very interesting in Leyte Golf, and I know a little bit about this battle. I've seen some YouTube videos about it, and I kind of understand the core concept. I am not saying I'm an expert at this at all. Okay, I'm not. What I'm saying is I clipped this game 10 counter sheets. And you know what I found out? The US, the US of A, the United States of America, for those of you who don't know, the USA, right? In just this one battle, I can't even tell you the amount of ships that they had in this battle. It is amazing. When I show you guys how many counters the US has in this, it is just it's just amazing how many counters compared, especially compared to the Japanese. I would say it's almost 3-1 in favor of the US in the amount of counters, which, you know, like I said, and the counters represent, each one of these counters represents a ship. So the amount of ships that the US had in this one battle alone has to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 400 or 500 ships. I mean, it's got to be up at that high. It's just crazy to me. It is absolutely, you know, we all know, right? So Japan attacks the United States in 1941, and they have the advantage because the US hasn't got their production rolling, you know, they haven't got their, you know, output. They hadn't started getting everyone involved in the war effort and all that, right? Then by 1944, the US has literally 500 ships. Where the hell did all those 500 ships come from? Oh my God. It is incredible. And the amount of aircraft in this game is insane. How many aircraft there are in this game. So, you start to understand the scope and the scale of the Pacific War. This is basically what I call the ASL of Second World War at sea. This is the ASL, right? Where each one of these counters represents, it's a tactical game. It's a tactical game. This is not an operational, this is not a strategy. This is a tactical game where on the operation map, you're moving around your tokens that represent your different task fleets. And when your different task fleets meet on the map, then you go to the operational map, or I'm sorry, you go to the tactical map, and that's where you play out the tactical battles where you put each of your ships down. So this is a tactical World War II combat game. It's a tactical World War II combat game. Hey, Mike. I don't know if you saw this because you haven't posted any comments or anything, but where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Damn, I gotta dig it out. Hang on, Mike. I got this by Mike Butterjelly's recommendation. There you go. I didn't pre-order it. I didn't get it from GMT, but Mike Butterjelly had some really cool 3D objects and stuff, and said it was a great game. And so I ended up picking it up. It is a 2 to 6 player, 1 to 2 hours. And the reason I didn't get it, or P500, is got low solitaire suitability, very low. So I think you play some cards in the center area, and obviously if you're playing multiple people, you're going to know what everyone's putting in the center area. So there's just some low solitaire, but it's Mike says it's a great game. So I figured, you know what? I don't care if it's low solitaire. If it's a great game, I want to get it. So thanks, Mike, for recommending this. So I appreciate that. And yeah, it does look great. It's just, you know, playing it solo. I'll have to find somebody to play it with. Oh, there's a really good solo variant fan made on BGG. Oh, there you go. There you go. That would be awesome. So I'll have to download that and print it out, and we'll go to town on that. So you can see, boom, boom, boom. There's 4. That's a counter done. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a counter done. So you can see, I mean, with the snow shovel gets the job done. It's just very hard on the hands. Very hard on the hands. Very hard on the wrists. Very hard on the wrist as well. But it gets the job done quick and easy, that's for sure. One guy sent me one to take a look at possible for GMT. It was pretty good. Oh, good. If GMT would, kind of take his solo and print it out and everything and make it like an add-on, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'm very excited to hear that, Mike. I'm very excited because, like I said, I didn't pre-order it just because I'm like, well, I'm not going to play it because who am I going to play it with? I don't have nobody that wants to play a chariot racing game, and it's got 2 out of 10 solitaire. I just waste my money. But after I heard a lot of good things from several people about it, so I said, oh, you know what? If it's a good game, I'll get it then. So what the hell? And I like your little 3D pieces that you printed out and everything. And the reason I actually got it was because, where's my other game? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Hang on. Because I was out shopping. And when I was out shopping, I came across this chariot race. And so I picked this up and I was reading through the rules on this and everything. And I kind of got in the chariot racing mood. So I was like, how many chariot racing games? They just got one, right? I just got this one. I was like, hey, they just came out with a chariot racing game. Why don't you get that one too? So I did. As you saw, I picked it up. U.S. had 37 fleets, light and escort carriers, against 6 for the Japanese in this battle, says James. I am telling you guys, it is. I'm gonna show you guys the amount of counters when I get done, because we're almost done. We are. That's why we're doing this live stream, because this is a celebration live stream. This is 10 counter sheets, and half of them, at least half of them, are these little 1/2-inch counters. You know how many counters are in a half sheet, or in a? Do you know how many 1/2-inch counters are in a counter sheet? 1 million. I swear to God, there's like, it's like 1 million. It's like incredibly. But we'll show you guys how many counters there are at the end of the video when we get this done. We don't have that much left. Probably maybe about 20 minutes worth, I guess. I don't know how many to be specific. Yeah, I felt bad. Okay, so first of all, I got this game. Somebody saw. I talked about Second World War at sea, and owning Leyte Golf, and then moving to Florida and having to sell everything. And I wish I had kept it. Somebody watched that and emailed me and said, "Hey, I got a copy. I'm not doing anything with it. I'd love to send it to you. I know you're looking for it." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll buy it from you, whatever." He paid for the shipping, everything. He sent it to me, and I so appreciate it. And it's been sitting here on my shelf. So I specifically put it on my list because I'm like, I have to play this game this year, because nothing worse than sending a game to somebody and having them set it on their goddamn shelf and not do anything with it. You could have just left it on your shelf, right? So why send it to somebody if they're not going to use it? So I'm like, I am going to make sure that I use it. So I put it on my list of 10 games I'm playing this year. And then, not only that, But I said, I got to finish counter clipping. It's been a 2-week process. I clip for like an hour and then I put it away, right? And then, because otherwise, my head would explode. So I'd clip for a while and then I'd put it away. And then I'd clip for a while, then I'd put it away. Then I'd clip for a while, then I'd put it away. And so this is like the culmination. Yesterday, I did a bunch. I did a bunch yesterday. And then earlier today, I did a bunch. And I'm like, you know what? My goal is to finish that tonight. I'm going to finish that tonight. So I was over watching someone else playing games on their channel. And it's actually kind of funny. He's a board gamer, right? So I just typed in the chat. He's a newer guy, and he only has like 138 subscribers. So he's a new guy. Great setup, but I said to him, "Oh, I'm not going to be typing in the chat because I'm counter clipping." And so he reads my comment. He's like, "Counter clipping? What the hell are you talking about? Counter clipping?" So I was like, "Oh," I typed back in, "Well, I'm a war gamer, and you counter clip to get all the little nibs off the counters of your, on the edge of your counters." So then he was like, "What is this you speak of? Wargaming? What are you talking about? Like on the computer?" And I'm like, "No, in the board games." So I was interacting and telling him about board games and war games and sports games, blah blah blah. He had no idea what I was talking about with wargaming. Absolutely no idea. Now he's a young guy. He's probably, maybe 20, 22, 24. He's a young guy. But he didn't know what counter clipping and wargaming was. And so I said, Combat Commander, Wing Leader, and I named like 4 or 5 games. I said, that's the kind of games, because he's like, what are you talking about, war games? What do you play? And so I said, like Combat Commander, Wing Leader, and I named like 4 or 5 war games. And so then he read off my comment. He's like, I've never heard of any of these games. I'm like, oh. I said, you're kind of young, right? And you don't know. And then I'd mentioned, I said, well, he's like, he said something, so I emailed back or posted back, and I said, I'm what I call a crossover gamer. I play war games, I play board games, and I play sports games. So he reads that comment, and he's like, oh, so you play sports games too? So you play like EA Sports on the computer or what? I'm like, no, this guy has no idea outside his little world of board games, right? Euro games, right? He knows a lot about Euro games because he talked about some of the other games and this, that, and the other thing, and some of the Euro designers. But outside his little bubble, he had no idea. He had no idea what was out there. He had no idea, because I said I play Stratomatic, I play APA, I play Combat Commander, I play Wing Leader, I play, and I named all these things. He reads his comment and he says, I have never heard of any of these things. Never heard of any of these things. I'm like, wow. I said, you need to educate yourself, because, I mean, he was very educated on board games. And I said, this is kind of the problem, is board gamers are interested in board games, but they don't realize there's more than their little bubble. There's a lot more than just their little bubble. That is pretty much, in a nutshell, his stream. So I said, next time I do a live stream, maybe I'll mention your channel, right? So I can send you over some subscribers. Maybe I can get some people to subscribe to your channel. So if you guys are board gamers and you want a recommendation for a channel, let me know, and I'll let you know It was I think it was board gaming with what's his name? I have to find him now because he's a new channel I just came across. He is board games with Thomas. He's actually live right now. You could leave here and go watch him play. He was playing some game I had never heard of, but it's board games with Thomas. If you are, he's playing Curious Cargo, which is kind of an interesting little game. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting looking game. Definitely very Euro game. You know, it's like move a bunch of little pieces around, and you know, then the AI moves their little pieces around, and they try to steal your pieces. So, but I think it's very telling, and we talk about this on the War Room about board games and the younger generation, right? And I keep not complaining, I keep talking about it, that the younger generation, what's going to happen when all us old timers, we die, and everybody's like, oh, it'll be fine, yeah, it'll be fine. No, it won't be fine. It absolutely won't be fine. It will absolutely not be fine. It will be when our generation bites the bullet. Wargaming is going to hit a dead end because this younger generation, they had never even heard of it. Wargaming, never heard of it. Tim says, I like everything but war games are the tops. Right, there you go. How old are you, Tim? How old are you? There are probably, I would say, what, 100,000 people that play war games that are 50 and up. And there might be like 10,000 that are like 40 or less. So you don't tell me that's not going to be a problem in 20 years. Yeah, you're 57. That's what I thought. Like, literally every war gamer I know, every single one of them is got to be 40 and up. And most of them are 60-ish and up. Like, I'm 57. I'm 57. Most people are 55 and older. Those are the war gamers, right? These are the people who, when we were 13, 14, 15 years old, we'd go down to the shop, spend $8.99 and buy a boxed game at the shop and bring it home and check it out. And it would be a war game, right? That was a war game. That was our official war game. That was our introduction to wargaming, right? That story, right, that I just told, 90% of the people in this chat right now would say, yes, that's exactly how it happened when I was 13, 14 years old. I went to the store. My mom bought me a Panzer Grenadier or a Panzer leader game, and I brought it home, and that's how I got introduced to the game, right? Boom, boom, boom. Same exact story. You talk to anybody that's 20, 25, 30, they don't have that story. That story does not exist. Don't tell me wargaming is not going to have a problem in 15 years when all of us are dead. It's going to come into a major problem. Major. There are very, very few people less than 40 that play war games. There is a ton of people that play war games, but they're all 50 to 55 years old. Yeah, Jesuit One says Avalon Hill, War and Peace, bought from the store. Boom. The Old Chestnut says I don't turn 40 until March, so I can mock you old timers for another 2 months. You got 2 more months, Old Chestnut, then you're on our list, buddy. You are on our list. Now, I'm not saying there's not war gamers that are younger. There are. There are. Obviously, there's war gamers that are younger. They're just not our generation, right? We all went to the store and bought war games. That's what we did. That's what we did when we were teenagers, and our parents would buy them for us and put them in our stockings or wrap them up and put them under the tree, and or we'd go to the store and we'd buy them. That's how we got them, and that's how we got introduced, and that's what got us interested in it all these years, right? And that's if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be interested now. We would not be playing it. The younger generation didn't get that. They don't go to the stores, right? The millennials, they haven't been to a store in 25 years. What are you talking about? They don't go to stores. If they can't download it on their computer in 2 seconds, they don't get it. They don't play war games anymore. Get out of here. Brian says, I ran a paper route. You're right. We all ran a paper route, right? We all ran a paper route for $1.25 a week. We'd have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, 5 to 5:30 in the morning, because we'd all have to walk, get the papers, make the rounds before we went to school in the morning. How many millennials do you see doing that? Name one. Name any millennial that does that. Name one. There's not a single one out there that does that. So everyone that says, oh, wargaming will be fine, blah, 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 they don't know what they're talking about. We are currently in a heyday of wargaming. We are currently in the highest, in the best time to be a wargamer is right now. But when we all die off, nobody's going to be buying their games. Nobody's going to be buying their games. So you can guarantee wargaming is going to die off very quickly when we all die off. Our piper route were more like lucrative, $60 to $120 per month. Okay. I started with On to Moscow and Bismarck Solitaire. So yes, I'm a short note brat when it comes to wargaming. Yes. Right. We introduced Phoenix Knight to wargaming. He had no idea there was wargaming. He jumped on board, right? But he's kind of, he's an older gentleman. He's not as old as us, right? But, if it wasn't for us introducing him to it, he wouldn't have got into wargaming, right? So when our generation is dead, who's going to introduce people like Phoenix Knight to wargaming? When our generation's dead. If it wasn't for me talking about it and being friends with Phoenix Knight and conversing with him, leaving him messages, right? I left him messages on his videos, and then he did the same thing to me, back and forth a little bit. Then I told him to email me so I could hook up. I got his address. I sent him a couple games to get him started, right? That was all me and our generation, right? When our generation's dead, who's going to do that? Who? Who is going to do what I just did to get more people interested when our generation's gone? Phoenix Knight will introduce them? Okay. Okay. All right. That's great. But here's the problem. If you introduce one for one, your hobby doesn't grow, because eventually that first person dies and he's only introduced it to one person. So the only way things survive and become better, right, is to introduce one person, introduces it to 5, and then each one of those 5 people introduce it to 5 others, and that's the way things grow and mature. And that's why we've got good gaming now in 2023, is because our generation in 1990 and 2000 and 2005 and 2010, we took it upon ourselves to introduce more people to the hobby. We took it upon ourselves to introduce games, run war games at conventions, right? If you go to any convention in the world and you look, and there's 25 board games out there and there's 2 or 3 war games, if you look at the people that are playing the war games, they're not 20, They're not 25. They're not 30. They're not 35. I can guarantee they're all like 65. They're not 35-year-old guys that are running these games at conventions. Very, very small amount. Very, very small amount is that young. They're all 60 to 75-year-old guys. And in the last 10 years, I've known of 3 really good war gamers up in Columbus that had passed away. So just in the last couple years for myself. So, I mean, our generation, we're not going to be around too much longer. Maybe another 10, 15 years. So what we do now, right? Oh, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. It's been fine for 40 years. No, it's the same people, right? For the last 40 years, it's been the same people. Those people are going to start dying off. You can't say in 15 years it's going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. Mo is crazy. He's absolutely insane when he says that. It's the same. Yes, wargaming has been the same. He claims wargaming is fine because it's been the same way and getting better every year. Correct, right? Because our generations, been those people for the last 40 years that have championed it. But sooner or later, us are going to all be dead. And then that's going to be it. Nobody's going to be there championing it. If you think that's going to happen, you're crazy. Yeah, the Bengals beat the Bills, knocked them out. Woo! That's crazy. Yep, Tim says he lost his best bud this year at 56. Sorry to hear that, Tim. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. It is. I mean, Tim is going to be our typical war gamer. We all this year, right? We all going to know people that have passed away. And it's like, damn, all right, there's another war gamer. Mark them off, right? Going to mark them off. I know. Trust me, I know. It's going to be brutal when our generation is gone. And people don't see it. People think it'll be fine. It's not going to be fine. The only reason it's been fine is because for the last 40 years, myself and everyone else that is part of my generation, and the 60s and the 70-year-olds, right? All of us, anyone that's 50, 60, or 70, those 30 years of time, right? Anyone in those has championed it. We've brought in more people, right? We just talked about Phoenix Knight. That's just one guy that I've introduced. I got Phoenix Knight involved. I got Lower Store Board Gamer. Go check out his channel. He's doing war games. He's in the challenge this year. I mean, I've got like 5 people just in last year interested, right? So I've done my job. I've introduced it to 5 people. So when I'm dead, I've left this place a better world than it was, right? Right? But if there's not a whole bunch of me's out there anymore, right? What's going to happen? Those 10 people that I introduced and sent games to and said, you know, what can I do? I've got a box right behind me, right here. Right there, there's a box that I'm sending to the Lower Slower Board Gamer. And it's got 6 war games in it. I'm sending that to him to get him started on his path. He's got a couple war games. He doesn't have enough. So I said, I've got a few games. I'm sending them to you, right? So I'm introducing him to wargaming. He's introducing his brother to wargaming, and the beat goes on. But when our generation's done, that ain't gonna happen anymore. Not Jay. What is going on, my friend? What is going on? We are talking about. Well, we're just talking. We're just having fun. Actually, we're winding up. Actually, we're winding up. Let's show you guys how many we got left here. Let's go back to just the original. And I'm gonna force this camera down. You can see just this little pile left. That's all we got left. 10 counter sheets down to this little pile left. Oh my God. There's my box I was just talking about. Right there. Right there's his box. It's the one on the bottom. Right there. I'm sending him some board games that I think he'd be interested in getting. So if y'all think I'm lying or whatever, there you go. Yeah, it was good fun yesterday, and having Not Jay and Hissy Cat and McMurray on the channel for our War Room chat. That was a good time having these guys on. Finally get to meet them, so that was awesome. You can check out their channels. But again, we're talking guys that are at least 50 years old. All three of them are like 50 years old. I didn't see anyone that was. I mean, McMurray might be in his late 40s, but he's not a young chicken anymore. I want to see some 20 and 30-year-olds, right? Where are the 20 and 30-year-olds? Where are the 15-year-olds, right? When we were 15 to 20 years old and we were playing after school and stuff, how many kids nowadays are playing after school, right? Right? How many of you guys in the chat were playing? McMurray's 32. Okay, well, there you go. There's one outliner. There we go. So McMurray, but he doesn't even really count because he plays miniatures. No, of course he counts. He counts. It's just, yeah, I think wargaming is in big trouble when our generation moves on. So, unless they start doing something now to introduce it, unless they start doing something now to introduce it to a younger generation and get them involved in it, yeah, I don't think I would have to disagree with everyone that tells me, oh, it's going to be fine. Don't worry, it's been fine for 40 years. It'll be fine for another 40 years. The only reason it's been fine for 40 years is because our generation is still around. Our generation is the one that drives it. Our generation, right? The 20-somethings, they don't buy 50 war games a year. Who's buying the war games? Who's buying war games? It's the old people, right? Because number one, we've got the money because, we've been saving up our whole lives, right? So we've got a little bit of money stashed away. The 20-somethings, they're paying off their college debts. They don't have money to go and buy 50 war games a month, right? They're not buying a million games, right? Who's going to buy war games when we're gone? That's what I want to know. Who? Okay, you got McMurray. And who else? McMurray and who? Yeah, history's not taught, so where's the interest? Exactly. Youngsters are getting involved with Warhammer and Magic the Gathering. Exactly. I went up to pick up a game from Cool Stuff. Cool Stuff is down here in Florida. A lot of you order from Cool Stuff, right? I can go pick it up because they're like 20 minutes down the road. I can go pick it up. I went to pick it up and I just happened to walk around the shop when I was there because I was like, I want to see what's going on because there's a whole bunch of cars in the parking lot. I said, oh, this is good. Let's see what's going on. They had a Magic the Gathering tournament going on. And I was buying some war games and they're like, give me my war games and scooted me out the door. Like, get out of the way, kid. We don't need, get out of the way, guy, old man. Old man, get out of the way. We don't need you here. Get out. This is for us. This is for the younger generation. You old man, you just take your war games and get out of here. That was the attitude they gave me. So I bought my games and I left. I'm like, okay. I kind of walked around to see what they were doing. It was probably 35 people there playing Magic the Gathering. Not a single one had a war game out there. So who's going to be buying games when we're all gone? Who's going to be making games, right? There'll be a lot of people making them, but nobody buying them. So why make them then? If you can't sell them, nobody's going to be selling them. And like for those of you just joining us, Stephen Reynolds, thank you for coming. /Deep Gaming, not Jay. I'm gonna go through this one more time for you guys if you're just joining us. I literally was just on a live stream with a really nice guy called Board Games with Thomas. Board Games with Thomas is his channel. Really nice guy, lovely individual. And I just happened to say, and I'm not going to be typing anything. I'm going to watch you because I'm counter clipping. And he literally was like, counter clipping? What the hell is that? And I was like, oh, I'm a war gamer, so I clip my counters so that I get off all the little nibs off the corners of the counters. And he had no idea what I was talking about. None. Zero. No information whatsoever. It was going in one ear, out the other. I literally typed in the chat some of the games that I played, and he said, I've never heard of any of these stuff. Never heard of it. He is a board gamer that has never heard of this stuff. So you tell me, a board gamer who's never heard of wargaming, you tell me what the general population, right? The general population that is 20 to 25 years old. Ask them about wargaming and see what they have to say. If a board gamer doesn't know about your stuff, you think the general population is going to know about your stuff? There's not a single 20-year-old that knows anything about wargaming. Very few know about wargaming. Absolutely. And you're trying to tell me, oh, wargaming will be fine when we're all dead? Sure. I don't believe that for a freaking second. I don't believe that for a second. Najee says, I didn't know what counter clipping was until about 5 years ago. Exactly. Absolutely. It's you gotta know because you gotta be in the hobby and you gotta learn, right? If I go up to somebody in the street and I say, hey, do you know what counter clipping is? What do you think they're gonna say? If I ask somebody that's 15 to 20, 25, let's say 15 to 25, that is your sweet spot. Those are the people you want to get interested now, right? Just like us, when we were 10, let's say 10 to 20, right? Now we'll say 10 to 25. All right, we'll even expand it 10 to 25. Those are the people you want to get invested now, right? You want to get them interested now because in 20, 25 years, they'll be the ones driving the hobby forward. We'll all be gone. If you don't do something with that generation coming up, you can forget about it. Right? Everybody I know has been gaming for 40 years. Everyone I know has been gaming for 40 years. There is nobody that I've met that is a 25-year-old that is a war gamer. Right? Every single week in the chat, everybody that comes to my channel, yo, we're like 50. I saw people posting their ages here. Let's go scroll back up. I don't know if it'll scroll back up that high. Let's see. Brian says he's 56. Manding Mike is 60. Jez is 62. Tim is 57. Yeah, we're all old. We're old. Not a single one of us is 20. Who's 20 anymore? Nobody. Who's 50? Who's 25? Nobody. Those are the people in 20 years when we're 77 and we're starting to die. The people that are 20 will then be 40. Those are the people you need buying war games. And they're not going to be buying war games because they don't give a shit. /Deep Gaming's 49. Right? 20 years from now, he's going to be 69. He's going to be dead. Good night, Irene /Deep Gaming. Right? He's going to be gone. So who's going to buy games when we're all dead? Who? Name it. Name it. I'm listening. Our generation, they claim the guys that did the fighting in World War II was the greatest generation. Yes, I agree with that. They were the greatest generation. But the next greatest generation is our generation. We're the second best greatest generation. We're like 30 counters left, and we are done with. This is a 10. This is a 10 counter sheet game, boys. 10 count. I don't even want to think about how many counters I've done. This has been a 2-week process, as I talked about. Oof. Yes, it is up to us to show the younger generation now. Right. Exactly. I got Phoenix Knight involved. He's doing the War Game Challenge. He's doing war games on his YouTube channel now. He's spreading the love, right? Phoenix Knight, in 20 years, he'll be 51. I'll be 77. I'll be dead. So it'll be up to Phoenix Knight to pass it on then. But we need another 50 people like Phoenix Knight passing it on. We got McMurray and we got Phoenix Knight. Anybody else? That's going to be around in 20 years? Anyone? I mean, you know, there's a possibility some of us might be 80 and maybe we'll buy a game. I don't know why, but sure. Not Jay says, we stumbled into, my brother and I did not just stumble into gaming. We stumbled into the store and an older guy showed us the game. There you go. It is up to older people to pass it on to the younger generation. Absolutely. But the difference is our generation, right? Take the 8.5 million people that are in our generation. We have to say 10% of them play war games, right? And then you take the next generation, which is the next 8.5 million, anyone from 25 to 45, anyone that's in the next generation between 25 and 45, and we'll say they're 8.5 million. What is the percentage they play of war games? Maybe 1%, right? Maybe 1%. Not even, I bet you it's not even 1%. We have to get out to the stores and show the games and no gatekeeping. Yeah? I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, right? There's a lot of things we can do. It's just, I think, you know, I'm Mr. Positive, but I don't see any interest trying to get younger kids. How many younger kids are going to sit around with a snow shovel in their hand, counter clipping, literally, right? Literally, right? It's cost me probably, I'm thinking, between 10 to 12 hours of my life. 10 to 12 hours of my life dedicated just to this game, right? Just to this game. Do you think there is a single millennial out there, right, that would spend 10 hours with a snow shovel in their hand counter clipping, right? I would love to see one. I would love to see someone post a picture sometime of somebody that's 20 years old using a snow shovel, right? For every one that they show me a picture, I can show them 100 of somebody 50 using a snow shovel. I think you're confused to what a millennial is. I'm 39 and I'm a millennial. No, you're not. 20-year-olds are Gen Z. You might think you're a millennial. You're not a millennial. Not to us. I mean, you might call yourself a millennial, but you're not. Not for us. Not for us, old generation. Well, we're down to like 15 counters in this. 15 counters and cutting down. This is going great. No sane individual would counter clip 3,000 counters. And that's, I think, this how many is in this box is 3,000. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 counters. Oh man, we were down to maybe 10 to 11 counters left in this box. 10 10 counter sheets, my friends. Yeah. Every monster game that I've seen pictures of people standing around with big stacks of counters, 1,000 counters on the table, 3 maps, right? I don't ever see a 20 something in a picture. I don't ever see a 20 something in a picture. None. If I pull up BGG, do you think there'd be any? I mean, and when I say none, obviously I'm being facetious. There's not none, right? But we're talking about a very, very small percentage. I'm not talking about, oh, there's nobody playing war games. Don't anyone get smart ass and start putting comments in the comments saying, Jester, you know what you're talking about. There's people still playing war gamers. My buddy's son plays war games and he's 22. That's not what I'm saying, guys. Okay? Comprehend what someone's saying. Someone is saying, in reality, when we look at the big picture, there's not a lot of 20-year-olds playing. So when I say nobody's playing, I don't mean nobody. I mean very, 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 very few, right? Compared to when we played, right? When we played, we were riding our bus to school, right? And we'd have our little rule books and we'd be reading our rule books on the way to school. And then we'd put it in our school bag and we'd go to class, right? And then on the way home, we'd pull it out. It'd be all bent up because all the books and everything that we had to put in our book bag, right? Everyone that had homework had put their books in there, and then you're reading your rule book on the way home. Disagree. I think there's a larger percentage than you think because I see it at every convention I go to. Show me some pictures. I want to see pictures. If you say you disagree, I want proof. Don't just say I disagree because I've been to conventions. Sure, at convention there's 20-year-olds playing war games. There's like 6 of them. Great, right? Compare them to us. Their generation to our generation. Is there equal number? Are you telling me there's an equal number? When you go to a convention, right? Are you telling me there is 20-year-olds and there's 20 60-year-olds? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because you're telling me that it's equal. If it was equal, there would be an equal number. Right? If there was 40 60-year-olds and there's 2 20-year-olds, it's not equal. How many? How many are we talking about? I see quite a few. I'm saying it's not going to stick around. You're telling me you disagree with me. You say your comment is, I disagree. There's a larger percentage than you think. I'm saying, no, there's not. There's not a larger percentage. You can look at the percentages by the number of people that show up. That's what percentages are. Percentage is how many of something there are. That's what a percentage is. I'm saying the percentage of the amount of young people doing it are really small compared to the older generation. When I go to Origins this year, I'll be taking photographs for you so I can show you what a percentage is. We're down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more counters, and this will be done. Oh my God, I can't wait. 60 to 40 at GMT West. What does that mean? 60 to 40. There was 60 to 40 young people? I would love to see a photograph of 20-year-olds sitting around playing a monster game. Again, I'm not saying there's nobody, right? There might be a ton in your photograph, right? Because it's a convention and it's the only place that these kids can go to play war games. It is literally the only place a kid can go to play is at a convention, because they're no longer going to their friend's house to play them. They're no longer going out playing them at home by themselves. The only place they play them is at war games conventions, right? And so maybe there'll be a few younger kids there. Oh, we got 3 left to go. There might be a few of them there. But are you trying to tell me? No, you're trying to tell me there's 40 to 60%? Are you kidding me? Or I would bet you $1 million right now, Mike Twitter Jelly. I will bet you $1 million. There is no way in hell that there is 40% of the younger generation That is it. That is the last one. We have done it. There is no way in hell that, I mean, like I said, sure, there are some, and they'll show up and they'll go to GMT West, and it's all, I can almost guarantee, right? It's the sons of the old men that show up, that they drag to the convention, right? I gotta believe like 85 to 90% of them are, oh, hey, this is my son. He came with me to the convention. It's not local high school kids that are coming out there, right? It's all sons of the dads that show up. Well, no, what you're saying is, Mike, what you told me was you disagree. You think the percentage is a lot higher. I don't, I can't believe that percentage would be any higher. I can finally, oh my God, thank God, I can finally put this as a completed project. I will be so excited. What I'm saying is, when our generation is gone, right, the next generation, there's not enough people. There won't be enough people at all that will be able to keep our industry going. There won't be enough people. Won't be. There'll be some, but they're not going to be enough people to keep it going like there is now. No way. Absolutely not. Here's the US. And here's the US. You can see there's like 2 bags of US. And here's the Japanese. There's only not even a full bag of Japanese. And these are the big counters. I mean, I like to think positive and say, oh yeah, there'll be the next generation. Okay, that's not going to happen. I don't see it happening. Nobody I know isn't even interested. And like I said, I just got off a channel. I just got off a channel, a board gamer channel, a guy who plays board games, knows a lot about board games, had no idea about wargaming, had no idea there was even such a thing, and didn't know anything about counterclipping. Not a single thing about counterclipping. He wanted to know what counterclipping was. So if these are the 20-year-olds that are out there, right, and he's doing a board game stream, right, the 20-year-olds that are watching him, they're not watching wargaming. If wargaming is so prevalent to 25s and less, right? Somebody tell me a YouTuber that has a wargame channel that's 25 or less. Because I can name like 30 of them that are like 50 or more. So if you're telling me it's equal, and you're telling me there's a lot more than I think, I would like you to name just one. Just name one person that's 25 or less as a YouTube channel that does wargaming. Please, somebody, there's, how many of you are there in the chat? Somebody should know somebody. 17 of you. There's 17 guys All you in the chat, you all go, you have plenty of channels, you go watch all the videos. Name one person that's 25 or less. Yeah, right. Exactly. Gen Chaos 33. Young wargamers nowadays is only doing first person shooters, right? That's all they do. They don't do wargaming. If you think they're doing wargaming, you are nuts. You are crazy. You're insane if you think the younger generation are playing war games. There's some, right? There's some people, right? Growing up with their dad's introducing it to them, whatever. But it's not like it was in our generation, right? It's not in our generation. And it's different. It's different now, right? Things change. We understand things change. Yeah, we know things change. It's not going to be the same when our generation isn't around to buy and promote and get people going on it. There'll be some 30 and 40-year-olds that in 20 years they'll be 50 and 60 and they'll champion it and they'll talk about it. But they'll be like, literally, I could off the top of my head name like 20 people right now that are war game channels, right? In 20 years, when all of us are dead, who's going to be on there doing it if we're all dead? Name one person. McMurray and Phoenix Knight might be the only two. McMurray and Phoenix Knight might be the only 55-year-old people doing it. And when they're gone, what's going to happen? Name one. Nobody named one person that was 25 or less playing war games. Not one person named anyone. So what that means is there is 0 people out there on the internet that are 25 or less doing war games. Wow, there is so many. Look at how many US. That is 2 full bags. Thick bags. Whew. That is a lot. That is a lot of US counters. Look at that. That is a ton. And like I said, compare that to the Japanese. The Japanese, they get outnumbered, right? So we talked about this in the beginning, right? The problem the US had, right? In 1941, when they first went to war, they didn't have their war machine going. But 1944, where did all this stuff come from? Oh my God. And like some of the smaller counters represent 2 and 3 ships, right? So you can see some of the smaller counters represent 2 or 3 of the ships. So, look at how many, this is just US carrier-based planes there are. Look how many. And that's not even all of them because I still have to put all the ones I just clipped in there. Don't drop any. Whew. That was a... there was one British kid about 10 years ago that had a channel about 2 years ago. He did not have a lot of money, but he did what he could. Okay. All right. There you go. That's a perfect explanation. There's like one little dude that we don't even know his name because his channel may or may not still be there, that was trying to do it when he was younger because he didn't have a lot of money. So he's not buying any war games, and who knows if he's still doing it. That's kind of where I'm saying it's not equal. There is at least 30 people that I can name off the top of my head without even looking that are 50 or older that have channels. So when we're all dead, it's up to that one kid to champion it. It's not equal. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not equal. There's no way it will be equal. Oh no, I dropped a plane. Ooh. Thank you. Hold it down. I'm always nice. You know I'm always nice. You know I'm always nice. The wife wants me to be nice, so I should be nice. The wife wants me to be Barb. She doesn't like the fact that I call her my wife. My wife Barb. Is that better? Barb. Barb. There you go. Barb. Barb says, "Be nice. Be nice to people." I don't think I'm mean to anybody. Am I mean to anybody? I don't think I'm mean to anybody. Not Jay says he stopped doing it because our generation, we're not being very nice to him. It's nice to be nice. I'm not being mean to anybody. I'm not. I mean, we can agree to disagree. You don't have to. You don't have to. You might not think I'm accurate and I'm correct, but you'll find out sooner or later. As they all found out yesterday, I'm always correct. So I mean, it's just one of my habits that I have of always being correct for some reason. There's not much I can do about that. I mean, I try to do my best, and it just so happens my best is better than everyone else, so I'm always correct. I can't help it. I'm sorry. But yeah, we can agree to disagree. I'm just saying, I'm giving you my views and my opinions and my what I see. I see with my eyes, right? I see right now the hobby is great and everything's hunky dory, and we're getting lots of games. We got, like I said, lots of channels to watch. Right now in 20 years from now, in let's see, what is it? It's 2045. Let's say 2045. In 2045, they're going to look back and the 2020s is going to be the heyday of wargaming. Right now, we're in the heyday of wargaming. It's the best it's ever been. Top, top, top. Well, Jester, how can you say that? And then say that wargaming's going down the tubes? That's not what I'm saying. Wargaming's not going down the tubes. I'm saying when our generation in the next 10, 15, 20 years, when our generation dies off, that's when it's going to start dying off. That's when we're going to run into a problem, because the younger generation, they don't want to clip counters. They don't want to play monster games. They don't want to play board games. They don't want to do anything unless it's on their phone, right? They don't want to do anything unless it's on their phone. Now, Jay says, I'm not always right. I'm just less wrong than everyone else. It's the same thing I said when I was 25 years old. Yeah, there you go. Our generation, ours is the greatest generation there is right now remaining. And when our generation is gone, the 30s and the 40s year olds are going to be coming up into our generation, and there's not going to be 30 YouTubers out there. There's not going to be 30 to 40 of us posting videos, right? There's not going to be 30 or 40 of us, right? There might be two or three, but there's not going to be 40. I'm saying right now there's at least 40 channels, 40 YouTubers out there that play war games, that you can go watch their videos, you can go enjoy their videos. Not Jay, Hissy Cat, McMurray, Tony, Ruff, myself, the Player's Aid. You have Gimpy, you have Kev Sharp, you have Stuka Joe. That's just off the top of my head. There's got to be like 12 people I've already named right off the top of my head. I can go to my YouTube list. Let's see who else I can get on my YouTube list. Here we go. Alrighty, let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Art Wolf, yeah. Dan, right? Bleacher Bums, no. Phoenix Knight, He's put some Greg Amos, No Enemies Here, Nerd Workshop, Camp Sawyer, Wayne Hansen. How many more people do you want me to go through? Zilla, Patrick, Tactics and Tutorials, Jeff, Tony's Board Life, Gamer 1745, Joel Toppin, Gimpy, Dave's Gaming Cave. How can I forget about Dave? Charles Latora, World War II Solitaire Board Game, Meandering Mike, Playing Board Games, Hex to Hex. Oh my God, sorry Hex to Hex, I completely forgot your channel. World War II, The Player's Aid, Rolling Solo, Counterattack, Wise Guy History, one of my favorite channels. He doesn't post a lot, which I wish he would, right? I wish he would post a lot more stuff. Lock and Load Publishing, Blue Tweezers. Sorry, Blue, I forgot about yours. Moe's Gaming Table, Hissy Cat Studio. Is anyone writing these down? Wardrobe, Big Board Gaming, The Original Grognard, Rough Swordsman, Historic Wings, The Counter Course, Scott W, Cody Carlson PhD, Matt White War Games, Solo Board Gaming, Mike Butter Jelly, Zeza1, ATS Fully Engaged, Dad vs. Son, Counterproductive Gaming, War Games Central, Heathwell Games, Games from the Front, JK War Games. I think you fucking get my point. Of everyone that I fucking mentioned there, how many, I've been going for 5 minutes now, how many of those were 25 and younger? How many? Not a goddamn one of them. So when you think our generation is over, you think, who the hell's going to be doing the videos then? Who's going to be buying the games? Nobody. That's what I'm telling you. I just listed off at least 40 people that are YouTube war game YouTubers. And I didn't name a single one that was 25 or less. Maybe even 30 or less. I bet you there wasn't even anyone that was less than, let's see, McMurray is 37. He might be the youngest one. And Phoenix Knight might be 37, right? So we got 2 people that are 30-ish, and that is it. And I just named off 40 to 50 people that are 50 or higher. And you don't tell me when those 50 people are dead, right? Who's going to pick up the wargaming slack for everyone out there? The YouTube community mirrors real life. Believe it or not, it mirrors real life. So when you try to tell me, oh no, yeah, there's a lot more people than you think, Jester, and there's a lot of young people that do wargaming, and yeah, sure, there's some, but there ain't as many as there is now. Proof. That's what I have. That's why I'm always right, is because I have proof. The proof is in the pudding. I just named you the proof. You cannot argue with that. Every one of those channels are wargame channels. They're all about 45 to 50, and in 10 to 15 years, they're all going to be dead. They're all going to be dead. Their videos are going to, their channels are going to die because they're dead. Oh, so the kids will have money in 10 to 20 years from now. That's the reason they're not doing it now, is they have to wait till they have money to do it. That's I mean, if you want to believe that, you can, but that's not accurate, because I can literally tell you, go watch Board Games with Thomas. He's a 25-year-old kid that plays board games on his channel. That's what he does. He plays board games. I could probably name 4 or 5 people that are 20 to 25 that have channels that don't play war games. The kids today will finally have time and money to do it in 20 years. 20 years ago, the exact same argument. I spent over 20 years teaching history to teens. I can almost guarantee that a good number of them will be playing war games when they get to our age. Your proof is in YouTube, not that is funny. Now that probably what you meant to say is now that is funny. You don't think that mirrors real life, right? So you don't think that mirrors real life. So what we can do then is we can just simply, we can go to Board Game Geek and we can look at the photographs, right? We can look at who's playing war games. Do you want me to prove it to you that way too? I mean, how many different ways do you want me to prove it to you? This year, I'm going to Origins. So if you want to meet up in Origins this year, which is June 20 something, like the 23rd to the 30th or something like that. If you want to meet up in Origins, you let me know. But I'll have proof for you then, because what I'll do is I will take a lot of pictures. I will interview a lot of people at the show for you. And then we can have this discussion later in June. And I can prove to you that way you're all a bunch of dumb assholes, right? You don't understand what the hell's going on. Because there's nobody that's 20. Again, when I say nobody, I don't mean nobody. There's hardly anybody that's 20-year-old, 25, or even 30 that's playing war games. Nobody. Hardly anybody. And I'll prove it to you that way too. I will literally take pictures at Origins and I will show you all the games they were playing. And I will show you the people that were playing the war games. And I'll take pictures of them and we'll count out how many of them are 25-year-olds, right? And then what I'll do is I'll walk down the hallway and I'll go to the RPG wing. You know what RPG is? You probably don't because you're an old fart like me. RPG stands for role-playing game. It's not where you roll the dice either. You're probably too dumb to know that. But role-playing game, right? I'll go down that hallway and I can guarantee you right now, I'll be taking pictures of 20-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 25-year-olds. A ton of them. A ton. Absolute ton. So then we'll compare, right? We'll compare how many 20-year-olds were playing war games, how many 20-year-olds were playing board games, and how many 20-year-olds were playing RPGs, which again, role-playing games where you don't roll dice. Okay? And then we'll see the final answer. Because for some reason, y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I'll show you. I will show you who's playing these games. Because y'all don't think I know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows a step away from gaming when they start raising their kids. I didn't step away from gaming when I was raising my kids. So, I mean, I had neither the money nor time to play a lot of war games between 20 and 50. So what you're saying to me is there's a lot of closet war gamers that are 20-year-olds. And when they turn 50, then all of a sudden they're going to jump in the hobby. Is that what you're betting on? Is that what you're if you're a betting man and you think everything's going to be okay with the hobby, you're betting on a bunch of closet 20-year-olds that aren't buying anything now and they're going to wait till they get 45 to 50 when they have the money. Okay, sure. Chester is just doing Jester. He's on a roll. That's right. Got me into hex encounter games. Right? I mean, that's why some people, right? Not Jay, Wardrobe, Hissy Cat, great war gamers, but they're, they kind of do it in the miniature market now. They don't play what I would call a traditional war game, right? I bet when I die and my kids and grandkids inherit my games, at least one of them will get heavy into the gaming. Okay, well, here's the thing. Again, we talked about this. You can't have a one for one. When you die and one person takes it up, you're not growing the hobby. It's not growing, it's stagnant at that point. When you die, if you only introduce it to one person, then the hobby is not growing. And the hobby isn't getting any better because the person that just inherited all your games isn't going to be buying a bunch of new games because they just got a whole bunch of games. Why would they buy a bunch of games? So the manufacturers are not going to be selling games like they are now. I would love to find out, and Mike, you work for GMT. Why don't you have GMT find out, do a database study on the age of the games of people that buy their games? Right? Just have them do a study. I mean, they should know how old people are because they have credit card with date of birth and everything on it. They could do it. They could just do a quick query on all the credit cards they have on the date of birth, and they would find out how old everyone is. And again, oh, Jester, that's not fair because, the younger generation, they can't afford it. So, oh, okay. So what you're telling me is you didn't buy any games when you were 20, you didn't buy any games when you were 30, and you didn't buy any games when you were 40. Right? Is that what you're trying to tell me? You didn't buy anything? You literally just spent your money on beer and television sets, right? You didn't buy any games, you didn't buy anything. Poor woe is you. You had kids, you had a wife, you couldn't afford games, so you just got out of the hobby, right? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is that what happens? Is that literally what happened? Is it literally 20 to 50-year-olds you're not allowed to buy a war game at all? There's nobody out there that buys war games between 20 and 50. You have to be 50-year-old or higher to buy a war game. Yeah, if one of your kids gets into it, they'll get some of their friends into it. Sure. Okay. All right. I believe that. Yep. I got 5 friends into gaming after I turned 35. That is what happened with me. Well, that's one person, right? That's one person that got into work, people involved after they turned 35. But for some reason, everyone else turned off gaming between 20s and their 30s and their 40s, and they waited until they were 50 again. Sold all my games between 20 and 22, and I had more important things to do. Now I bought them all back. That's what I'm telling you. GMT sales to young people is growing now. That is not okay. I'd like to see some proof, some data. Show me some data. I want to see. You work for GMT. You email them tomorrow and you say, "Hey, run me a report in January from 2019, January in 2019. We'll just go back 4 years. Now let's go back 5 years. Go back to 2018. Run a report from January 2018. All the games sold. Find out how many people were less than 25. Send us a percentage. Then do the same thing nowadays. And we're going to see this huge growth spike all of a sudden, right? That's what we're going to see. We're going to see a huge growth spike. All the younger generation are going to, all of a sudden the 30 and under are going to be buying a whole bunch of new games. A lot more. I don't know. I'm still in my 30s for a couple more months, James, and I'm hoping to buy fewer games over the next decade. There you go. There you go. There's who's going to buy games in 20 years from now? Oh, wait, that's right. You already told me. It's going to be all the closet 20-year-olds that are just going to wait till they get money. That's right. I forgot. Sorry. That's who's going to be buying the games. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that all worked out. the hobby is in great hands with the closet 20-year-olds that are going to get into wargaming in 30 years from now or 20 years from now. So the hobby's in great shape. We have nothing to worry about with all the closet 30-year-olds that are willing to jump in the hobby when they turn 50. They got to wait until they turn 50 for some reason. All right. I mean, we don't have anything to worry about. That's good. I am so glad. I'm so happy for this information. Because, in 20 years, right? 20 years from now, somebody can pull this tape up and show it to everyone in 2042. And they can say, Jester obviously didn't know what the hell he was talking about in 20 years because wargaming is off to a tremendous start with all of the 30-year-olds that now are 50 are all of a sudden buying war games again. All right. So that's good to know. I want to buy fewer games too, but I have 3 games arriving. Yeah. I wanted to buy less war games too, and I still have things arriving myself. So what else? So that was the best news. It wasn't really about wargaming. It was about me finishing, right? So you can see how many of these damn little counters. Oh my God. Here's just the green ones. There's got to be like 200 in there. 200. I don't know how many's in here. Maybe 100. I don't know. There's green ones. There's blue ones. There's white ones for the Japanese. There's tan ones, which I think are the land-based Japanese. There is obviously ships. Like I said, there's only 1 bag of Japanese ships. 2 bags of U.S. ships. So twice as many, at least twice as many. I would say probably 2.5% more. But that is 10 counter sheets. So I'm going to hopefully get this on the channel sometime soonish. And hopefully you guys will be able to check it out there. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys if you're available and come around and watch it. I don't think it's like I said, I don't think a lot of people play this game. Not a lot of people know about this game. I think that's how we got started on our last discussion, right? When we were talking about people don't know stuff. But in this case, people don't know Second World War at Sea. There we go, right there. Second World War at Sea. It's not like a super popular because it's Avalanche Press. A lot of people, when you go, talk about wargaming, right? Even a wargamer, like literally, if we played Jester's Jeopardy and I had an Avalanche Press game, I literally think no one would get it. No one would get it. And even Tony and Ruff, which are Panzer Grenadier guys, they still, if it was an Avalanche Press, they would be scratching their head. Unless it's a GMT, a Compass, or an MMP game, they cannot guess any games for some reason. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm going to have next week, right? Next week, where is it? Here it is. Oh, shit. Hang on. This is Jester's Jeopardy next week. This is Jester's Jeopardy. It is a World War II tactical level game. It's made by GMT. The letter it starts with is P. It is made by James Day. It's the designer of the game. And the box may or may not be sitting on my desk. That is literally how we're playing Jester's Jeopardy next week. Because the last 2 weeks have been too hard for people, I guess. Way too hard. And even Not Jade Hissy Cat. Shame on you, too. You guys should have known that. Come on. Come on. You guys should have known that. You guys, oh, I know why. I know why. They're miniature gamers. They're not even real war gamers. Oh, boom! Shots fired. Did you hear that? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, shots fired. I know. Here we go. Time to get them all riled up in the chat. Here we go. Ooh. Not Jay, Tabletop Gaming. If you could point me to a game involving cats or princesses, I could get my granddaughter into wargaming. There's a great game for that involves cats, but it's not a war game. The only Avalanche games I have is Airport. Oh yeah, Airport's a great one. Airport. Root is close with animals, yeah. Root is, well, I mean, you know, technically people call that a war game, which, you know, some people might argue with that. There's a game that uses stuffed animals. I think I just broke my box pulling this out too, and that's going to make me very sad. I broke my box. Look at that. See that? You jerks, you made me break my box. Broke the lid. I went to pull it out and my fingers got stuck on it and it pulled the flap open and then it just snapped the bottom. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to order a new one now. Yeah, so it's a tactical World War II game made by GMT. It starts with the letter P. Jason Day was the designer of the game. And Tony and Ruff would still not be able to guess what it was. Still not be able to guess what it was. Tony, let me tell you, Tony. Tony's number one game is ATS. For him not to be, and the funny thing, here's the funny thing, right? If you saw the answer, the answer was, of course, Tobruk. The Advanced Tobruk System, ATS. Here's the funniest thing about that whole situation is Not Jay, which is in the chat, guessed Tobruk, the Avalon Hill version of Tobruk. He said the word Tobruk 3 or 4 times. He even guessed Tobruk, but he guessed the Avalanche Hill version. And Tony still didn't get it. How in the hell do you not get that? When you hear somebody else say Tobruk, you don't think of the Advanced Tobruk system that doesn't even register in your brain? I'm like, oh my God. When you see the answer, you're all going to freak out. And yes, it was in Tobruk, and it was also in Al Alamein. Because there are scenarios in here from both of those games, or both of those places. But how can you not, if somebody says Tobruk, it's like if somebody says Normandy, right? If somebody says the word Normandy, and you don't think of the game Normandy, it's like, really? You wouldn't think of that game called Normandy when somebody else says, I wonder if it's Normandy. Or Battle of the Bulge. And then you don't know, you don't remember Battle of the Bulge when somebody says Battle of the Bulge, or let's see, Holland, right? Somebody says Holland, Holland. I have no idea what the game is. It's like, seriously, He just literally said the name of the game. It's your favorite game. It's your number one game of all time. And somebody says to Brooke, and I have no idea what it is crazy. I want his gamer license because that is 2 weeks in a row he failed. 2 weeks in a row he failed. And not only that, but it was 5 people that failed. 5 people. And not only that, moves everybody in the chat because I know what happens. The people guessing, right? They look at what people say in the chat, and that's where they get their questions from, and that's where they get their guesses from, because people in the chat, they type in, ask them if it's specific. Ask them if it happened before Normandy. Ask them if it was a compass game. I see that. People in the chat type in all these questions, and so they ask these questions. Not a single person mentioned ATS. Not a single person mentioned Tobruk in the chat or. That's crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy. They guessed Compass, they guessed MMP, they guessed GMT, they guessed DVG, they guessed, I think they even guessed Worthington Games, right? I am Compass, Decision, MMP, GMT. Trying to think of who else they guessed. It was I mean it's like if you could have like walked blindfolded, right? If you walk blindfolded, you're going to eventually walk into a wall, right? You're eventually going to walk into a wall. And even if you're like out in the middle of nowhere, eventually you'll hit a wall, or you'll hit a tree, or you'll hit a mountain, or you'll hit something. Sooner or later, you'll run into something. And even in the middle of the desert, eventually you'll run into something, right? It's like literally they were handed finally on a silver platter. It's a European theater World War II tactical level game that is in Tobruk. It's in Al Halamin. It is not in France, I think was the question. Not in France. It was before Normandy. It was, I'm trying to give you all the clues that I gave them. It was infantry combat. That was the question, whether it was infantry combat or something else. Trying to think of what other questions were asked. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. It was just, I mean, I couldn't believe when Hissy Cat said Tobruk. He guessed Avalanche Hill. He didn't even said Tobruk, and I was like, well, which one? He's like, the Avalon Hill one. And I was like, oh, okay, well, the cat's out of the bag now. It's over. Somebody's gonna put 2 and 2 together. Oh man, it was. And then the week before was even twice as bad because they guessed Lock and Load. Oh, that was the other company that they guessed. It wasn't Lock and Load. They guessed Lock and Load on the third question, I think, last week. Is this a game from Lock and Load? Yes. It's an air combat game. Yes. From Lock and Load. It's an air combat game. Really? It's an air combat game from Lock and Load. And they think they guessed one, but it was not the right one. And I'm like, no. And they're all like stumped. It's an air combat game by by Lock and Load. I don't have it handy, or I would show it to you, but that one was a little more difficult. But that's because they got the first one really quickly. So I was like, oh, I got to make it a little tougher. But I figured Lock and Load. How many different games? Lock and Load doesn't produce that many games. So once you guess Lock and Load, it's like, oh, okay, well, is it part of their tactical infantry? No, it's not. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. They only have a couple other games. One was an air combat game called, what was it called? Bombing Britain? What the hell was the name of it? what did I do with it? Where is it? Where? Oh, it's in here. Right. Oh, On a Wing and a Prayer. There we go. On a Wing and a Prayer. There we go. I knew I'd think of it. On a Wing and a Prayer. Bombing the Reich. World War II. Germany. Great little game that obviously nobody in the world ever heard of. I guess there was only 13 copies sold, is what I heard. Anyways, we completed our mission today. Our mission was to complete Latte Golf. 10 counter sheets. For those of you interested, and I should actually talk about the game since that's kind of why we're here. Latte Golf. If you want to find out more about this game, here's the thing. I didn't want to cover too much about this game because you're not going to find this game. And if you can find it, which, if you can, great. It's going to cost you a pretty arm and a leg. But here is their rules and scenarios. And this is a hefty little book. But you can see when you talk about scenarios, right? Here's Reaping the Whirlwind, the last carrier raids of Japan, right? You got literally like 6 pages of ships that you're digging out. And let's see if we can find the big boy scenario. It's like literally like 20 pages of nothing but ships. Let's see if it's so they've broken it up. They've broken it up into like the end of March, and there's a operation scenario in the middle of April. Then there's one that goes from May 16th to June 12th. Then they talk about the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, Battle of the Philippine Seas, 13th to 15th of June, Task Force 38 raid on the Bonias and Psalms, 6th to the 12th of September, invasion of Morotai, 13th to 20th of September, 1944, prelude to invasion, the Formesa Air Battle, 7th to 17th of October. Leyte Gulf, the largest naval battle in history, 17th to 25th of October, 1944. MacArthur's Nightmare, the invasion of Formosa, 8th of December to the 25th of December. And yeah, there's just a ton of scenarios. Look at all the scenarios. And then there's just battle scenarios, which are just on the tactical board. So if you just wanted a tactical battle, there's 5 of those as well. There are some new rules for mine warfare, motor torpedo boats, special air rules, and victory points. There's a couple pages on the rules, a couple more pages, couple more pages. Kamikaze rules, a couple optional rules, and then starts the battle scenario. So the Axis forces on battle scenario 1, it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 versus 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So you got about 18 versus 20. Oh, no, there's more in the back. 21 for the U.S., 24, 30, 36, about 42. Wow. See, I told you the U.S. outnumbered them bad. The U.S. outnumbers them badly. Woo. So the Axis forces just have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And the U.S. has 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 40, 41, 42. 42. 15 to 42, the U.S. Now, of course, there's probably some special rules that maybe, Maybe it's a surprise. The Japanese surprised them. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what the Japanese southern forces entered the southern end of the Shirogati Strait at the night of the 24th, 25th of October, 1944, had already been through a string of ceaseless attacks prior to entering the narrow waters. Unknown to Admiral Nishimura, the Americans waited with 6 battleships to his 2, 8 heavy cruisers to his 1, and 26 destroyers to his 4. The battle fought this night was so one-sided it almost wasn't a battle. Nevertheless, the Japanese bore down on the American battle line. So yes, the Japanese are immensely outgunned on this scenario. The U.S. were just waiting for them to come. This is Sarigati Strait. This is, of course, a tutorial to get you, just used to how things run. That's the scenario we might even play. There are, of course, some special rules. Now, here's the other thing you need to know. The Second World War had seen the core rules. Let's see what. Oh, here we go. Not J. Sarigata Strait is a great battle where the veterans of Pearl Harbor and kick their ass. There you go. Not to mention all the PT boats. Yeah. Now here's one thing you should know. The Japanese were great night fighters in ship combat. So I think in Second World War scene, the Japanese actually get a modifier when if it's a night battle. Or I think the U.S. take a penalty when there's a night battle, but the Japanese don't. Let's see what it is. There should be, let's see if I can find it here. The Japanese were very good at night fighting. And that was their preferred method, was night fighting. But in this case, they just didn't have the firepower. They just walked into an ambush, it sounds like. Woo. Yeah, I'd have to dig it out to find it, but they that was battle scenario 1. There's another one. There's another one. There's like 5 or 6 just battle scenarios. And when I'm talking about a battle scenario, for you guys who don't know, I'm just going to show you, right? I'm just going to show you real quick. So there's operational maps. This is your usual, typical, maps, right? War game maps. And on those maps, you move around your task force and stuff, right? So this is task force 1, and we're gonna move up here, and we're gonna come across and all that, right? So when the 2 task force go into the same area, that's when they have a chance of fighting. And if that's the case, then you leave this, right? So on this map, you just have like little 1 counters that represent like your task force. Your task force could be 2 ships, it could be 8 ships, it could be 38 ships. You don't know, because fog of war, right? World War II. They didn't have computers. They couldn't look it up. They couldn't Google map it on their phone, right? They couldn't do that. So they had to just send out spy planes or scout planes, right, to go look. So once the 2 task force intersect, that's when you get out to your tactical map, right? There's your tactical map. And this is where you take all the counters that I spent hours and hours and hours punching out, goes on the tactical map. And now each counter goes into different locations. And now speed and like ships, like if I had ships here and I was trying to shoot down here, so I have to watch and make sure I don't have ships in the way, right? How far away are you? Where are you shooting your torpedoes? All that stuff. This is where that comes into play, is on the tactical map. And there's actually, let's see if it shows it here. No, it doesn't show it on here. But there's like 26 steps each turn that you go through, like a step-by-step thing. It's like 26, 23, 22. I forget how many. It's a bunch. It's a bunch of steps that you go through each turn on the battle map. Like everyone that has a speed of 5 can move. And so you do that for the allies. Then you do it for the Axis. And they can move 1 square. And then anyone that moved has a chance. They can do this. They can do that. Do they want to send out planes? Do they want to shoot torpedoes? You know, there's like steps you go through. Whew. The surprise of how developed their night fighting abilities were. We knew their equipment and their long lance torpedoes were a bit of a surprise also. There you go. And that, not Jay, he probably knows a lot more than I know about this stuff because he does the naval warfare with the miniatures. So, you know, obviously you learn a lot of stuff when you play a lot of stuff, right? So you learn a lot of stuff. You learn a lot of history. Like I knew very little about this battle. Very little, but then I watched some YouTube videos on it years ago when I first got this game, right? And in fact, tonight, in the next 10 minutes, when I say goodbye to you all, I'm going to actually go on YouTube. I'm going to type in Late Golf. I'm going to go watch the video again because I want to refresh my memories. So when I do the live stream on this, I can remember some stuff. Yeah, you learn a lot of stuff when you're playing these games. And not only that, you learn a lot of things, but you also get more interested because now I'm like, oh, I got to find out more about Late Golf. I got to find out. And then you find out, oh, it's the largest battle. What does that mean? What does that mean? The largest battle. It's like the largest tank battle, right? Well, what does that mean? How many are we talking about? Are we talking about 100,000 tanks on each side? Or are we talking about 2,000 tanks on each side? What does that mean, the largest battle, right? Well, this is what we mean, the largest battle. There's this many counters. Holy crap. There's a lot. There's a lot of counters. 10 counter sheets. My hands, I'm like Popeye, right? From squeezing that thing, I'm like Popeye. Look at my arms. They're huge. I got huge arms for a 57-year-old. Whew. Am I going to design a postcard game? That is to be determined. I have ideas, Hissy Cat. I do have ideas. Whether or not it would work on a postcard is a decision. That I have to decide on, right? I don't. Here's the problem, right? Here, you guys know. Here's the problem. When you play a lot of games, you don't have a lot of time for other things, right? You don't have a lot of. That's why doing this live streaming, just clipping counters, right? This is why it's taking me 2 weeks to clip counters, right? Here's my. Let me show you. I'll show you. I'll show you something. You ready to see? I'm going to show you. I got to add something to my sheet here. We did. All right. Have to save it. There we go. I'm going to show you guys something. As you guys know, I play a few games here and there. I play a few games. It is January 22nd, and so far for January 2023, these are all the different games that I've played on my channel. And in fact, all the ones in brown, which, yeah, that doesn't sell it very well. Let's make them red. There we go. All the ones in red are actually first-time games. First time I've ever played the game, ever. Whether it was on my channel or not. So there's actually 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 new games that I had to learn and watch how to play and figure out how to play and play them on my game channel. So it is January 22nd. We have 20 different games on the channel this year so far. So don't have a lot of extra time to be creating postcard games. So am I going to do it? I didn't say no. I like I said, I have ideas. It's just I don't have time for my ideas. I got other ideas I want to do, but I don't have time because I literally didn't have time this week spending 12 hours counter clipping this game, but I had to get it done. I actually have right over there, right there. Actually, I could probably bring it right over here. You see what I have? You see what I have? You guys know what this is. That's Fields of Fire. I actually have it set up ready to go on my table, and I said, no, I can't start another project. I gotta finish this other one because I can't have this box, right? I can't have this box out, and I can't have all the pieces out. I can't have them all in the way. And then you gotta have your box where you have all your clippings, right? Like this box here that's got all the clippings in it. You see which box it's in, right? Oops, no, you can't. There you go. It's in the Field of Fire box because I had the Fields of Fire out. And I'm like, I need a box to put all my little clippings in. So I grabbed the Fields. I said, I can't have all this stuff out. I gotta start closing out projects. Team up with one of your designer friends. I know, right? I would like to. I would really like to. I just I want somebody else to win this year. I mean, yeah. You save your clippings in a jar. Why? Why? I take them out back and I throw them in the bushes. I think they keep away all the snakes. That's what I told the wife. I throw them out in the bushes so that it keeps all the snakes away. You keep all your clippings just cuz. Okay, well, there's something wrong with you, Hissy Cat, then. Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, I had Fields of Fire ready to go. I had it all set up. I was thinking about doing it, and I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I got to put it aside. I have to finish this. I have to get a project done. Get it done so I can move on to the next project. So that's what the goal. I have to have goals. My goal tonight was simply counterclip the final sheet of this game so I could put this to bed. And next time I'm ready to play it now, I can get it out and I can play it and I don't go, oh my God, I still got a million pieces to counterclip. That's crazy. Ugh. Yes, you are strange. That's true. All right, well, that is it. Thanks for coming to the counterclip stream. We appreciate it. It's fun times as always. Debating with you guys. Debating. Telling you the way it is and having you guys tell me I'm wrong. Even though I'm never wrong. You guys should know that. So, anyways, everyone have a great night. We got to go. I've actually got to get this off the table because I've actually got another game I got to get set up. So again, Fields of Fire is getting set aside again. So now I've got to get this other game on the table and get it out so I can bring Fields of Fire back. Oh my gosh. My wife says we were all wackos. Yeah, I agree. Take care, Not Jay, Meandering Mike, Hissy Cat Studio. Be sure to check out Hissy Cat Studio, Not Jay's Tabletop Gaming. Check out everyone else. Let's see. Check out. I keep thinking Noble Knight. I know Phoenix Knight. There we go. Phoenix Knight. Pablo Verns. Thanks for coming out. U.S. We're surprised at how advanced the U.S. were at first. Yes. Right. Jen Chaos. Thanks for coming by. Mike Butter Jelly. The Old Chestnuts. Thank you, my friends. James Whitmere. What is going on? Thanks for coming by. Jezza. Good to see you tonight as well. If I missed your name, I apologize. Brian. I'm not bitter and angry tonight. I'm never bitter and angry. What are you talking about? I have no idea what he's talking. Does anyone know what he's talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. Bitter and angry. That doesn't sound nice. The problem is, when you're always right, people like to knock you down a few notches because people don't like people that are right all the time. It's just a fact of life. People hate the guy that's on top. People hate the person that's always right. It's like the beauty. It's like a beauty pageant, right? When there's a beauty pageant, we always hate. We hate the person that, oh, she's gonna win because she's Miss Priss and blah blah blah, right? She's the one on top. She's, number one. She thinks she's the greatest. Everyone hates her and tries to knock her down a few notches. That's what you guys do to me. That's what you do to me. You knock me down a few notches because I'm the guy on top, I guess. And you guys hate me for that. But I hate being on top all the time. I hate it. I hate being right all the time. But it's just a curse I have. I guess it's just a curse. Somebody's got to do it, I guess. Somebody's got to be the mouth. Somebody's got to be the one. It's good to be the king. That's right. It's good to be the king. Those who think they know it all annoy those of us that do. There you go. There you go, man. Your Mike. He says it all. All right, guys. Well, that is it. I had a really nice little hot cinnamon bun. The wife brought it in, told me to be nice to everyone. And look, I didn't even eat it because you guys. Now I got to go heat it up in the microwave. Hope you guys are happy. See you all tomorrow. Take care. We got game number 21 of the season coming up tomorrow. And yes, it is another brand new game never played before on the channel coming out tomorrow. I'm not telling you which one it is, but if you go back and watch some of my unboxing videos, you might have seen it. Thanks, buddy. We'll see everybody later. Ciao.